Hi everyone, this is Ramalinga Prasad Kuppa. Welcome to my channel Pharma World. Today's topic is particulate matter in APIs. Occasional extraneous matter in APIs is an unavoidable situation. Generally, extreme care will be taken to isolate the API and package in a well-controlled clean room. The EPIC guide titled Guidance on Handling of Insoluble Matter and Foreign Particles in APIs, dated June 2015, focuses on this subject. There should be appropriate controls for the unavoidable presence of minute amounts of particles in API. Let us see more in this video. Particulate matter. The APIs produced should be clean and free from any extraneous matter always. This is the basis for common understanding regarding the presence of particles in APIs. There is no specific guideline on the number of extraneous particles that could be present in the API. It is unrealistic expectation that no single visible particle should be present in any amount of API. So some occasional presence is accepted as long as there is no adverse impact on the efficacy, potency and safety of the product by the presence of couple of occasional particles. It is recognized that manufacturers cannot provide 100% assurance that all active ingredients manufactured will be free from one form of contamination or another. So accordingly, it should be noted that one or two occasional particles may be present in the entire batch. The level of concern for contamination will be dependent upon the final application of the drug product and the related risk to the patient. The risk of extraneous inert particulate matter is more in solid dosage forms than the dosage forms in solution, because the API will be dissolved in appropriate solvent and filtered before the final packaging activity. On solid dosage forms like tablets, there is a potential that the black particles will appear on the surface of the tablet, making the customer suspicious on the quality of the dosage unit. Controls. There are a variety of non-specific tests during routine QC testing, which are generally able to detect visible particles in the parts per million range. During the sampling activity itself, the QC analyst should be able to check for any such visible extraneous particles. So sampling activity should be carefully done in adequate artificial light. Since the particles are in ppm levels, a bird's eye view must be adopted to cover a wide surface area. It's also important that the sampling equipment must be scrupulously clean and should not have any extraneous particles stuck onto it. The sampler should be protected with a clean, suitable wrap after cleaning and drying. These are not considered as extraneous matter. Cross-contamination, chemical impurities, airborne or subvisible particles, heating, cooling agents, oil and other lubricants. This is important. Cross-contamination with other chemicals or chemical impurities are not considered in this category. They are not inert materials. Those can significantly impact the quality of the API. Section 5.14 of ICH Q7 clearly states that lubricants, heating fluids, or coolants should not contact intermediates or APIs so as to alter the quality of APIs or intermediates beyond the official or other established specifications. Section 211.65 of 21 CFR Guideline Subpart D also prescribes the same conditions for dosage forms. The approach assumes that any particles are homogeneously distributed throughout the batch. Sampling itself represents the entire batch. So contamination found, if any, is considered that it is distributed throughout the batch. If there is any indication whatsoever that the particles may not be homogeneous, an investigation must be initiated. Obviously, if the distribution is not uniform, an investigation should be carried out to establish where the failure occurred for this process. These minute amounts originate from normal wear and tear and not from equipment breakdown, damage, human error, or other non-equipment related issues. This is important. The accidental presence of particulate matter could come from normal wear and tear and not from the listed items here. The predefined limits should be based on regular process, equipment capabilities, and documented risk assessments. So based on the history of the process, the limits should be assigned. Following are the examples of potential process and equipment related particles. Charcoal. Charcoal or activated carbon is mostly used in the final purification stage. If the filtration is not carried out carefully after carbon treatment, there could be a possibility for some carbon particles pass through the filter into the final crystallizer to make the carbon particles appear in the final product. Fibers from filters. Fibers from paper pad filters are possible. Fibers from centrifuge bags. Even polypropylene PV bags of centrifuge could give out fibers. Inorganic salts used or formed. In certain reaction mechanisms, metal dust is used. Unless it is controlled appropriately through filtrations, they could appear in the final product as traces. Seal, gasket materials, construction materials of equipment like stainless steel, glass from glass cylinder reactor, enamel, PTFE, etc. If this type of extraneous matter is found, it is a serious matter and it should be investigated for causative factors. Let us see the specifications for particulate matter. Naked eye can identify particles with a minimum length of 40 microns. This is general capability of normal eye. Fibers have typically diameter less than 40 microns and length diameter ratio larger than 3:1. For example, if the diameter of the fiber is 40 microns and the length is a little over 120 microns, it is considered as a fiber. Atypical particles include operators' pencil, cable binders, name tags, or duct tapes, etc. This is not acceptable. A detailed investigation is necessary for such failures and effective kappa should be defined. Hair, human skin particles, and insects are potential extraneous matter for not adhering to GMP. This is GMP related. It is a clear negligence on compliance to GMP. This should be corrected immediately. A general visual appearance test is performed as a regular QC test in the QC laboratory. Prescription of USP chapter 631 should be followed exactly. You have to understand carefully the intent of this chapter. The particles should be generally inert and biologically non-active materials. This point was discussed in detail in the earlier slide, the slide number 4. QC tests include appearance, that is the description test, appearance of solution, clarity of solution, residue on ignition, etc. The appearance of solution test should be understood well. If the solution contains one particle with 1 gram of API, which is within the specifications, it should not be extrapolated that 10 grams may contain 10 particles. It should not be understood that there could be a linear relationship of particles with the amount of sample taken. So, in case the appearance of solution test is repeated with another gram of sample, it is expected that there should not be another particle present in the solution. This is the intent of this concept. Residue on ignition or sulfate dash test and even heavy metals test also gives some information of inorganic salts contamination. Filtration test also may be carried out in certain cases. In this case, the filter paper through which the solution is passed will be checked for presence of any particulate matter. Let us see the acceptance criteria. The acceptable limits for particles should be based on the knowledge and history of regular process and equipment performance. So, based on the process capability and the past history on the presence of occasional particulate matter, the limits could be assigned. It is also necessary to confirm that the particles are inert and does not impact the quality of the product. If there is no indication of such a failure and the testing results of API are within acceptable range, the batch can be considered for approval. Let us see briefly on dosage forms. European Pharmacopoeia chapter 2.9.19 Particulate contamination, subvisible particles. JP 6.07 insoluble particulate matter test for injections, and USP 788 chapter particulate matter in injections and infusions have detailed information on control of particulate matter. These sections of various pharmacopoeia provide more information on dosage forms of injections and infusions. This video is out of scope of the content of these guidelines for now. On some other appropriate occasion, we will focus on these items. I hope that the information covered in this video is useful. Read the CFIC APIC guideline titled Guidance on Handling of Insoluble Matter and Foreign Particles in APIs, dated June 2015 for more information. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please do subscribe, like and share. Also, please leave a message in the comments box for any further support. Thank you.